It's like 2 p.m. Getting my day started. It's Friday. Usually a day I have off, but this week I took Wednesday off because it was a warm day and took the dog to the beach. Anyways, today I thought I would talk about life as an entrepreneur. What's it really like going out on your own, trying to start something from scratch? And yeah, we'll just do a little casual chit chat as I get ready. First, I need to gather supplies. There's Doggish! Hello, Doggish! I actually put on like an outfit today because I actually own clothes that aren't sports bras and sweatpants and overalls. So, first things first. Did I know what I was getting into? Sort of. I knew it was gonna be hard. I knew it was gonna be lonely, but that loneliness kind of an on your own feeling comes in waves. You're never like all that prepared for it in a way. It's really important to have like the support of your friends, family, of your tribe behind you. Most of them understand. No. But that's okay. Because as long as you have a couple people who are like gonna be standing behind you the whole way, you just gotta focus on the people who are there with you, who are following you on your journey. So if anyone ever is looking for some solid piece of advice, the number one piece of advice is just do it. Learn as you go. I always like the idea of starting my own business and creating something. I kind of always knew I was gonna do something along those lines, but like most people, it's like, cool, I'm gonna get a job, like learn what I can, like do some management consulting, get exposure to lots of different industries, make an impact. And then I saw my friends go down that route and I was like, God damn it, that's miserable. Which is fine. It's just not for me. There's no right or wrong answer. And a lot of my decisions have just kind of been informed by my mental health journey because it kind of changes your perspective when it seems like everything is okay one day, then before you know it, you turn around and it's like your whole brain has betrayed you. Like you're not functioning, you're not yourself anymore. And that whole idea that time isn't unlimited and that there's really no guarantee that you'll have like a stable future. And I think for a lot of people, they've come to terms with that during coronavirus as, you know, the world has changed seemingly on a dime. That's kind of something like an idea that I've gotten used to in the last few years. I always try and explain this that I kind of feel like people who have already gone through a midlife crisis, they are usually the people who are most supportive of what I'm doing. And it's probably because your midlife crisis comes when you realize you have more of your life behind you than ahead of you. So that's kind of, you know, what you're like, I'm gonna get that sports car, like if not now, then when? I came into that kind of mindset in my early 20s. So it's not like, hey, like I'll spend like 5 years in consulting, whatever, then I'll maybe have some business idea and then pursue it. I'll have the knowledge and confidence and the tools to do something. And then I realized, like, what if I don't want that? You know, what if I don't have that time? What if I don't have the luxury of time? Because my mental unhealth has definitely taken me to dark places, and when you realize that the future isn't guaranteed, that there will never be a perfect time, that's kind of when you make decisions that might seem impulsive or that don't make sense to people. Especially like even some of my best friends my age, they don't totally get it. Like they're supportive as much as they can be, but I totally understand like why it seems like I abandoned this other path that I was trained for. I have the education for it. I have like 2 graduate degrees. I should be in that corporate setting. I should have my own office with my name on the door. And instead, I'm trying to bootstrap a business, move back in with my parents, thought this was gonna be temporary, but it's been like 3 years now. And like, for me, it's totally hard to not see that. Like, there's totally that pressure to be like, yeah, shouldn't I be like a little bit more on my own by now. Like, some people think like moving back in is kind of like a step back, but for me, like, it's a privilege to be able to do this so that I can pursue what I really want to do and something that I really believe in. And if I didn't think that the potential upside was big enough, like, I wouldn't have taken what others see as like such a big risk. For me, it's not a risk. I think one of the hardest things is forgiving yourself for having a quote-unquote like unproductive day. You know, there's times where I want to like quit every single day, and just taking that time to check in with yourself, do whatever the thing it is. Like, I don't feel like I have to stick to 9 to 5 hours like 5 days a week, because like, I'm in charge. I kind of call the shots. In the spring, I was in this mindset where I was like so anxious, like I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, because I was like racing against this timeline in my head, and I was just kind of slow down. I just want to do this on my own timeline, you know? I've been in places where I'm like, it's like go, 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 go. Like, what if this is all for nothing? Like, keep working hard. And it didn't make me happy. The hardest thing now is just kind of be like, okay, cool. Like, as long as the ball is moving forward, you know, you don't have to buy into the whole hustle everyday culture. If you're not sleeping, you're being productive, because there's no balance in that. I knew going into this, but it hasn't really sunk in, and it really does get me down on some days. Is like, man, like sometimes I just wish I had a little bit more stability, a little bit more of a predictive life where I could have like my own apartment, I could have my dream couch, like going out to eat with my friends. It's hard to keep up with everyone when basically you're making $0 and they're making very decent salaries. It's really hard to keep up. The most important thing is for me to like check in with friends who are in more of a similar stage in their life, who are like, hey, like, we don't want to go down such like a traditional path, like, we're gonna figure it out. It's okay, like, get a dog, move back in with your parents, and like figure it out. You're on your own timeline. It's okay to be single, like, we will figure it out. But it is really hard when certain social circles are just like reaching the next rung on the ladder and taking the next like predictable milestone, and like there's nothing wrong with that, it's just different. But like, because that's kind of what is ingrained in the societal narrative, it is so easy to compare yourself to that. That's always like super challenging. But having people who can keep you grounded is so important, and sometimes that's not like your best friends. You know, they might not get it, but like having someone who's on the same path as you, it's so important to have like a network of like other founders and other entrepreneurs, blah, blah, blah. And I totally get it, but it's like so hard to go find friends. Like, I have made friends online, like on Instagram, for example, like just reach out to people, always reach out to people. You know, there's always other people in your life you've met through like other jobs or whatever, or like through university that you weren't super close with, but they're kind of like on a more similar time to you, and it's really important to connect with those people and make time for them. I have like a bunch of spots popping up and like kind of breaking out here, so that's why I'm using a lot of West Bend chili. This stuff is like so potent with skincare ingredients. It really brings down inflammation. I always think everything is like marketing hocus pocus. No, this stuff actually helps like my skin look and feel and actually be better. Like, heinously expensive? Yes it is, but that was the price of market research. I really wanted to get Selena Gomez's new line, but I was like, Karen, like, look behind you and look, like, you are finishing these foundations before you buy anything else. What else has been really challenging? Yeah, mostly like the struggling and like feeling alone. But at the end of the day, like, I know when I don't like know what I'm doing all the time, but like I have a general idea of where my next step should be, and I'm learning so much as I go, and like I reach out to everyone for advice, like everyone in my network. I'm like, oh, that person has worked at a startup before, like they've done pitches, like I'm gonna go ask them some questions. And like, you also have to be careful of who you choose to listen to, because I have had people, I want to sit down, like meet these other founders in my area, and they're like, oh god, like you don't have a technical co-founder? Like no one's ever gonna give you money. Like no way, you can't do this alone. And I'm like, okay, first of all, like getting a co-founder is like finding a husband. Okay, it's like, who do you want to be locked down with for potentially the next like 5 years? You don't just put up an ad like looking for life partner to be legally bound to. And I've also had someone who literally told me that, I was like, hey, like this is where I'm at in terms of the product stage. Like I designed the user flows, blah, blah, blah. Here's the prototype. They didn't even look at it. They were just like, blah, blah, blah. Like you need someone, like you need to, you know, get like a co-founder, have someone like build this for you, because you can't possibly be any good. Because it's not your job. Like it's not your role description. You haven't done this before. And I'm like, no, actually, no, like this is my job. It's so weird. Like even people who are so-called like, I'm in the startup space, like I work with founders all the time. They can be so like set, and I get it. Like there is certain pathways that I've been walked down before, and they're totally patterns. But look, those patterns have led us to a world where 97% of VC money goes to dudes. So that's generally how people make deals too. It's like, okay, cool. What have our previous successes looked like? And let's just do more of that. But does that lead to more change? No. And even if people are like, okay, cool, like we have the data that proves this is what works. I'm like, okay, so this is how big data works. It kind of writes off the extremes and the differences and kind of just like predicts a kind of happy medium. So if you want to change things and not do things that they have been done before, then yeah. Because I have basically a very technical marketplace that I want to create. And it's basically a product whose target audience is women. And people create solutions to problems that they encounter in their own life. And just because of the way society is and stereotypes, whatever, there's not that many like beauty junkies or makeup artists who are like, you know, we need a very technical product. It could be a beauty marketplace for people because we have so much makeup like we never use, so we can like sell it to someone who does want it. Or like, I've used this thing once, like someone else can have it, like I don't care. Still more hygienic than trying something out at the beauty counter, because seriously, there's staph infections everywhere. Don't use beauty testers like now or basically like ever. Like don't put that stuff in your face. You can swatch on your hands. Wash your hands. Don't let go of that habit because it's really gross. So basically the product I'm trying to create can only ever be created by someone who has encountered this problem. And do most like computer scientists, programmers, are they known for being super obsessed with beauty? No. I mean, I'm like super generalizing, but like reality of it is like most people who study computer science or engineering are dudes. Okay? They're all like straight dudes. So we have this gap. There's this expectation that I have to be able to build this, engineer this product by myself, when so many things have kind of made it so much harder than if I was trying to build like, you know, if I was a dude and trying to build like a fintech product. Okay, I can have like a pitch deck and go up to people and they probably give me money. But because of like who I am, the field that I'm looking at, and how unprecedented it is, it's just harder. And that's just the way it is. The other thing I'd say, like advice to people who want to start out on their own, you gotta be like an eternal optimist deep down. Even if you have self-doubt and have moments where you kind of question everything you've done in your life up until this point, to have the optimism of a dog begging for food at the table. Like they might just give you a scrap, they might just give you something, and it's just that like hopefulness that you have to have so ingrained in you. And something else that people don't talk about is like resourcefulness. There's like no school for this. You have to be resourceful and know how to get shit done. These really aren't my favorite. I can't tell if it's in focus because my eyes just aren't in focus naturally. It's just kind of chunky. In general, I don't think people take chances on themselves enough, but you need to have a certain like support system behind you some kind of like fallback plan. Like, am I paying rent right now? No. Do I really have to worry about putting food on the table? No. If I end up wasting like 10 years on this and I never make a penny, I won't regret it, because I did something that most people would never do. And maybe I don't have any savings, and that frickin' sucks. But I know I'll be okay. The most important thing for me is like knowing that I won't have a big regret hanging over me. I know that in my happiest and best life, I did something on my own. And I got a dog. The dog is very important. I knew in my happiest life it would not be without a dog. It's kind of just my thoughts for today. No matter what you choose to do, what you choose your adventure to be, you really have to believe in it. Because at the end of the day, if you lose interest, then no one else is going to believe. You have to believe. I'm someone who just gets bored really easily. I would not have been doing this for the last 2 years if I didn't think the opportunity was big enough that the risk I'm taking would be worth it. Something else I've learned is, and I have to imagine what a dude in your position would do. And you have to think, okay, cool, like if I was an entitled dude living in this wonderful patriarchy, you would just go and ask for it. Okay, sometimes you have to be a little more aggressive than you might be comfortable with. It's just how you need to be sometimes to get shit done and to be heard. And be unapologetic for doing that. Because would a dude apologize? Nope. And something else that's kept me going is like, think of all the terrible ideas I personally would have never invested in, and look at how far they've come. Sometimes you just kind of need to look outside of yourself for inspiration and motivation. Podcasts have been really helpful, reading books, hearing other people's stories, sometimes just going out for coffee with a friend or something. I look like a person again. I feel like a person. I felt like an absolute potato today. Like, there's that episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy Turner wishes that he was older, and that's kind of how I felt when I woke up. No one ever tells you how awful vivid dreams are. It can take over my day. Oh, now I'm gonna go write some blog posts. Check that out on glou.co/blog, because I do put content up there. Don't know if people actually find it. No, they do. But people haven't been finding on my TikToks because I got shadow banned. Why? I have no idea. I actually finally put effort into a video. My mom helped me. I got like 4 views, and I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Anyways, social media gets me. Anyways, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!